Before this video begins, I would like to raise awareness for Article 13. Article 13 is a law in Europe that makes fair use and safe harbor much more strict. Fair use is that me or another YouTuber are allowed to take a photo and then meme it and add different things to it as long as we are not using it for purposes or financial purposes. Safe harbor means that YouTube has to take on all the copyright strikes and cannot pass them down to the YouTubers. Well, if you want to look at this more in depth, you can watch a lot of different videos, one of my favorites being All Your Memes Are Dead by Game Theory. But now to the video. Hello guys, I'm back, Patrick from the Backyard Science Lab, and today I've been waiting for this Action Lab subscription box for a while, and finally I got it in on Monday. This box I've been waiting for a while, and it's from one of my favorite science YouTubers, the Action Lab. So in this video we are going to be unboxing it and see what's inside. Opening it now. Inside there is this tape, which I'm guessing is some kind of duct tape. Safety goggles. Action Lab, thank you. And the vacuum chamber instructions. This is what I was looking forward to. I've heard it's in here. In here there's different experiments. Self-expanding balloon, the shaving cream in a vacuum chamber, jumbo sizing a marshmallow, and cold boiling. Sticker here, the vacuum chamber, assembly required, and collectible enamel pins. Also a pencil, some vacuum chamber patch, and in here, this is some of the stuff that I'll need for the experiments in the vacuum chamber. So I'll open this up and start looking at it. So in here, this is a little pump, the vacuum, the mason jar, that says the Action Lab on it, and this is the top that will screw on the pump to. I'll put this all together and test it. So I have this fully assembled now, and one of the first experiments I want to try is the expanding marshmallows. I have some mini marshmallows here that I'll put in, and I have something I want to test, which is like a rock solid stale marshmallow, which has a harder outer crust. So we'll see if that does anything different in the vacuum chamber. I'm going to seal our little makeshift vacuum chamber, and this vacuum chamber works with one-way pumps and this syringe which pulls and then pushes the air out this way. There's a gauge here which will show what the pressure is at all times. Okay, I'm going to start building this pressure. You'll see on the little gauge there that it's going down. As the pressure gets lower and lower, it will, it's harder and harder to pump. This little handheld pump won't be able to get a full vacuum. But as you look at the marshmallows, you can see how much bigger they're getting. It looks like the stale one is still getting pretty big. This happens when the air inside the marshmallow, trapped inside the puffy marshmallow, is trying to equalize with the low pressure air outside the marshmallow, which is pushing the walls, either breaking the walls and touching it and equalizing, or expanding the cavity that that air is in to disperse the air molecules and keep the pressure the same. We are down to -20, I think that's PSI, and this looks to be about as low as, this is about to be as low as we can get, and these marshmallows look like they're full. And one of the interesting things about this is when I pull this, you would think that the vacuum would go away, because I'm pulling the rubber part of it out. But because of the one-way valves, this only pulls this out so that I can keep this part in vacuum. To break the seal, I'll break this little connector, and we'll watch the marshmallows as they shrink down when the air comes in and makes the pressure higher. 3, 2, 1. It's that vacuum, so it's trying to suck together harder than it normally would. You can see the marshmallows shriveling up. Dumping that to sea. These will eventually turn back to normal size. I had some ones that I did earlier and they turned back to normal size-ish. I guess the final test. It is fluffier. Definitely fluffier. But this marshmallow test was our first experiment. I'll get this ready for our second. The second experiment I'll be doing is trying to make this balloon bigger. This will work because the high pressure air in here and the low pressure air will try to equalize, and that'll stretch the rubber and hopefully fill the rest of the vacuum chamber with this balloon to make it bigger. So I'll put the seal on the vacuum chamber and I will start pumping. You can see as the gauge goes up, this balloon starts to get bigger and bigger. I'll see how big I can get it. Eventually this might pop. I don't know how stretchy this balloon is. I'll try to get it up to -20 like we had it for the marshmallows. Okay, I'll try to get it a little bit more. See how much it continues to expand. When the cavity of the balloon gets bigger, the air molecules have to disperse over a larger area, making it more of a vacuum. We are almost up to 25. I don't think we're gonna make it all the way there. We're almost at 0.8 atmospheres, which is 0.8 of the Earth's atmosphere pressure. I think this is all we'll get. This balloon's pretty big. When I release this, the balloon will shrink really fast. And in 3, 2, 1. Look at that. What's interesting is I don't think this is at full vacuum yet. No, it is. Thought the balloon plugged the hole. I'll get it out. This balloon is now normal size. So I'll get ready for our next experiment and be back when it's ready. So this experiment is the shaving cream experiment. And I haven't really seen this before, but I've heard just a small glob in it. Now, because this is foam, it will expand because of the tiny molecules in it, or the tiny air pockets in it. And these tiny air pockets will expand kind of like the balloon, and as it describes in the pamphlet of experiments, like a lot of tiny balloons stuck together. So, all sealed tight, and we'll start the vacuum. You'll be able to see the vacuum gauge there. The shaving cream is starting to expand. You can see with every pump, it gets a little bit bigger. It's just over -15 psi. Trying to get harder pump as we get closer to -20. We've passed -20. I don't think it'll go much more, but this has expanded a lot. And as we release the pressure, we'll see what it becomes. 3, 2, 1. Wow. Wow. It turned less into a foam and more into what I would expect is the liquid inside here that makes it into the foam. What I think happened is when it was decreasing in size, it kept decreasing and decreasing and falling in on itself until it kind of became back into its liquid state. Smaller than the original glab we put in here. And we'll get ready for the next experiment. This next experiment is cold boiling. So the trick to this is that on Mount Everest, water takes a lot less to boil, and it boils at a lot lower temperature. So if you're in a vacuum or an almost complete vacuum, it boils at room temperature. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in here, and we'll see if we can get this down to enough of a vacuum that it'll cold boil the water. You can watch the pressure gauge there, or the no pressure gauge there. Probably won't do anything until we get it to pretty high vacuum. We just surpassed -15 psi. Start to see some bubbles on the bottom. I don't know if that's just the water or starting to boil. It is almost at -25 psi. Trying to get this to as max psi as can get it. This high pressure, you might be able to see that I don't even need to push it back in as the vacuum is pulling it back. We are at -25. I don't see much of a boil here. While I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube do this, I think our pump may not be strong enough, as strong as an electric pump that people like the Action Lab and other YouTubers might have. That will be able to get to stronger PSI, or negative PSI. I think it's at just over -25 PSI, and it's not looking like it's boiling anymore. There are a little bit of bubbles, so I would call this a boil. Not very strong of a boil. So I'll release the pressure and we'll see if it does anything. Didn't really do much, but now it's not at a boil. And as you can see, it was starting to boil, but now it is perfectly room temperature water. I've decided to do another experiment, and I put an egg in here very carefully. And the idea of this experiment is that the water and air inside the egg will be trapped in and may explode the egg. While it is known that there are microscopic holes in the egg that allow air in, it still might have a possibility. So that's what we're going to try today, right now. And you'll be able to watch the vacuum gauge. I'll start pumping this. So at -10 psi. It almost looks like it may be expanding. which is interesting. Just surpassed negative 15 psi. Just surpassed negative 20 psi. And yep, it cracked. Well, I don't think that really got to the pressure I desired. It became hard enough to pump that it just pulled the entire thing over. Guess I'll release the pressure.
I think it cracked before it fell.
We have suggestions saying that it may have cracked before it fell, which is interesting because it looks like some of the liquid came out. That maybe some of the liquid was pushed out if it cracked. It almost, if it was on the side and it hit, it does look like it has a lot of cracking that maybe it might have burst before the before it was tipped over. But nevertheless, this egg is definitely dead. Upon closer examination, it does seem like the egg may have cracked before the glass mason fell. You can see a little dark spot in the corner right before it fell in the slow-mo video. This is a zoomed-in photo of what I think might have been the crack, where the little dark spot appeared on the video. And that's traced out where the crack may have been. So, we got it. This is in the Action Lab subscription box, where we got the vacuum chamber from one of my favorite YouTubers, the Action Lab. And I'll be doing more experiments on this in the future. Bye!